Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Bully Talk. We have a very special guest returning. We're very, very happy to have him back. We had a blast last time. I know this person is a phenomenal human being that if you don't know him yet, you're about to, and it's going to be a good night. Per usual, just in case there are some folks tuning in for the first time that haven't met you, definitely, please introduce yourself. Tell us your business name, your kennel name, and then what got you into bullies in the first place.
Awesome. Yeah, my name's Dima. I live in Chicago. Trained dogs for a long time. I've had my business Positive Vibes dog training and rehabilitation since about 2009. Bullies have been doing since about 2013, 2012, 2013, give or take. And yeah, that's it. It's been a fun run. So I don't know, what is that, like 12 years, 13 years, something like that. So yeah. Yeah, showed a lot, bred a lot, trained a lot. And now kind of just enjoying it all, still just
So
sitting
how
back.
long ago was that you were on here with us? I remember the episode.
Just a little over a year. I want to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say about a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so fun about that is I do feel like it's been kind of you've just had this resurgence lately, and it wasn't because you weren't busy. Obviously, it's just I think you might have been too busy to be on Facebook. So
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I just put social media. I've always been pretty active on social media.
mhm.
I decided to just put it on the back burner and focus on what was important to me for the time being, and at the same time use that extra time to build up and kind of bounce back a little bit. So
Yeah.
I definitely love it. The cool thing about your training technique is it's not necessarily it's not a training technique as people have the tendency to view it. You're really teaching dog psychology
to people, yeah,
you're essentially you're teaching people to
communicate,
and teach their own
yeah,
dogs, and it's
yeah,
that can kind of get lost in translation. So
yeah.
I'm curious, what got you into dog psychology versus training? Like where did that come from for you?
Yeah. So that's when I started my dog psychology journey, I say, was about 2009. Well, officially as a business, before that, it was like me and 20 dogs in like a mechanic shop living together. So like, but, legally, and officially, about 16 years, I got into dog psych because I knew basic obedience stuff. I knew, like, I seen a lot of other training growing up. My dad used to train dogs for the army in Russia.
Nice.
So we always had dogs growing up. They were all super well trained, on point. And at some points I saw dogs in my life that weren't well balanced. And I started to like think about it, especially when like I was young and living on my own. And I was like, I gotta make money somehow, So I started going to rescues in the city, and I was like, hey, I can help you fix your fucked up dogs so you can find them homes, and I'll do it for you for 50% off because you're a rescue. And so it's always been my thing, And I started working with so many rescues, and that's how I ended up with all those dogs living, in like one little area. But yeah, I got into it because I realized that many people didn't really know what they were doing training wise. People could get dogs to do things they want them to do, but they don't understand that if you pay attention to the way that they're doing it, most of it is using human psychology, which is, it doesn't sound like a big deal when we just say like obedience training, like tricks and commands and stuff, but it's actually the worst. Not the worst. It's hard to word it. It's like the farthest thing you could do to take the dog away from nature is by humanizing it, not letting it actually, not just live and be like a dog. Like people say, this is my baby, like actually treat it not like a dog. So then the brain becomes fucked, because it's like the same thing as you took like a neurodivergent person and put them in an environment where they don't know what to do, you know, they go crazy.
Yeah.
So same thing. This dog keeps pawing at me.
Graham, you talking here, buddy?
Hi, buddy.
Oh, he's
Say hi. Say hi.
buddy.
Say hi.
It's a beautiful bull.
Yeah.
He's like a fine wine, man. That's a beautiful
Yeah,
dog.
that's just what he was doing. He just kept pawing at my arm the whole time.
Bruh.
He's
Pass
like, bro.
So yeah.
Pass it.
So to me, you know, what I saw that I could help people with was and I started studying dog psychology. I didn't just like say, hey, let me find the most aggressive dog and see if I can like manhandle his ass, you know. So I started studying it, and like anything, I learned real quickly that eventually, you know, it's like book smart and street smart. Like you have to learn it on paper to understand everything, like the scientific end of it, the all the neurological stuff, but then you have to put it into play or it means nothing, you know. It's like so you have to do both. And that's kind of when I started going to the rescues and just being like, you know, hey, I can fix your dogs. I figured they were great opportunity to practice my craft. And they were, you know, because these are all dogs that were either super fearful or insecure or super anxious, or in some cases labeled aggressive. And you know, and we just went, you know, one by one. It was me, and I was walking, you know, 10 or 15 dogs down the street in the city, and then people started asking for my info. And then what I also did for people was the dogs that would get adopted out, the rescue would give them my info for training. I'd give them free training session or a couple. I don't remember what I was doing back then. And then they would book me for more training, and that's how I survived, you know. So it was just all teaching people, not the dogs. And like I still say today, you know, like I take people's dogs from them if I have to for actual rehab, but most of the time I prefer to work with the person. I can do it like this over a camera, or I can do it in person, you know. So
Right.
But taking their dog only if I need to for rehab, and basically it's I don't do it unless I really have to. I feel like that dog really needs the help, and they're really going to be committed to it. Because most dogs I could take and they're fine with my pack of dogs.
Right.
Probably the first. I mean, I don't give them the opportunity, so they learn pretty quick how to be. And then beyond that, you know, it's still I have to work with the person. That's why I hate to say it like this, but like I feel like the whole obedience training industry is just like a $1 billion scam, because there's no you know, think about these trainers are taking dogs from people for a week and they're teaching them these commands using human psychology: sit, stay, heel, lay. And these are commands. While it sounds cool on paper, because that's what we've been told and taught for so long, these are things that dogs do naturally, you know. So like sit and stay is in dog psychology is just being calm and submissive, like this. Like I didn't say sit and stay, but here he is sitting and staying, you know. So sitting is a way of relaxing, you know, without teaching a trick. Or if you want to teach him to respond to something, then you would apply some pressure, some tension, and then they would associate that with what you're teaching, but still no verbal required. The verbal attachment is just it's last. It's the last thing. That's the farthest thing that you can get from the way that a dog can communicate. You know, first and foremost is your energy and your body language. And they need to smell. So a lot of these dogs you see reacting off of sight and sound. And as you probably know, from the day dogs are born, it goes nose, eyes, and then ears last. Mm-hmm. So the ears is the last thing I do. I never like when someone does this on a door and then the dog reacts, you know, like just to test it. I mean, if you've taught your dog that to respond, but you should be able to send them away, you know. Right. But you know, if a dog hears something and starts barking or thinks he hears a noise or something like that, unless that dog is being trained to do that specifically, they shouldn't be doing it. It just means that they're that disconnected from nature, you know. So it should always be when you see the dog like sniffing the air like that, it's not like smelling. He's reading the situation. He's reading the energy and what's going on, you know. So you want them to do that first. So I always engage nose first with a dog and then move on to like a sound or a sight if I have to, you know. So always nose, eyes, ears. So
which is crazy, because I know that and I am so guilty of this, so guilty. Talking to my dog constantly. Like I talk to my dogs, like not necessarily even just so much like they're people, but like I'm really kind of low key talking to myself, but they're there and I'll look at them as I'm doing it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
know that
Well,
that's
that's communication. That's a conversation that you're having then with them. Whether you're talking, even if you're not talking, the energy that you have. So say like you're walking around in a fuss or stressed or what the hell am I doing? All that energy just goes to the dogs, when you're
Yeah.
around them. So you're constantly influencing. I don't know, remember if I labeled one of my lives that I did last week this, or I
I think so.
mentioned it or something, but something about how you're teaching your dog 24/7 unknowingly, unintentionally, and your dog's always watching you and learning how you communicate, how it sees you, how you do things in the world and how you are as a person, and not as Amanda, but your energy, how you are.
Yeah,
So
I think a good example of that, like when I let my dogs out,
Mhm.
uh, my wife or my daughter, they can't let them out off leash and just let them out in the yard. They're gonna wind up coming to get me to get them in because they're not gonna come in.
right.
And it's because and my wife says, well, why do they come in for you and they won't come in for me? I don't understand. And I
Yeah,
said, well, it's because when I tell them to come in, if they don't, I'm going after them.
right,
Because I'm not going to let you
Yeah.
disregard me. I'm
right.
coming for you immediately. Like as soon as I say come, you don't come, I'm coming to you. And they're like,
Yeah,
and then when they're like, oh, here comes dad. And then they
yeah.
look at me. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm here. So come on.
And
And
then
then
they
and then
know,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, they know
and,
they got to go then.
and
Whereas,
if you think about it, that's how people teach recall too on a long lead. They say come. If they don't come, then they pop the lead, for the dog to
right.
come as a
Yeah.
response. Same thing as you would. I would do the same thing. I would walk over and get them to where
As
I
soon as
want
I
them to
get their
go.
attention, they're like, "Oh, he's coming this way," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you
Sometimes
already
I
know
feel like
what's
it's a
up."
matter of like you can get
And
them to
that and
focus
so
on
my
you.
wife and daughter, they're kind of the dogs know that they don't want to come out there and get them, so
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna
They're
Yeah.
not.
they're
They
gonna
know.
push it
They
because
know
there's no
they're not
consequence.
serious. They
Yeah,
know they're not serious. They know that I talked about in my some of my lives last week. I talked about intention.
yeah.
When you're doing something with the dog, the intention behind it is like everything.
Yeah.
Because they know if you're
If you're for real or
unsure, if you're
not.
that 1%, if you're 99%, they know that 1%. You might get them
Yeah.
to do it if you change your tonality, or your loudness. If you're a little more
Assertive.
pushy about it, you
Yeah.
might. Some people overdo it and they go over here, like that. And then yeah, the dog's gonna listen, but then it listens for a different reason. It doesn't listen for the
It changes
reason
the way that
that
they're
you
being.
want. Yeah, exactly. So the brain chemistry recognizes intuition or intention, and if your
Yeah.
intention isn't there, if you're not committed 100%, you still may get the dog to listen, but the association that the dog is gonna create is that it could not listen to you, or it could wait till you say it 2-3 times and do it when it feels like it.
It's just like a
So
toddler, if they know if
yeah,
you're going to say, all right, don't do that again. If you're going to say that 5 times, well, the first
yeah.
time you say it, they ain't worried about that.
Right.
Or
Yeah, no,
or
not
the
at all.
second.
Not at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, these badass kids, man, they really don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs, I'll tell you what, though, for the most part, my dogs seem to know that, like, when I tell them what to do, that I'm going to make sure they do it. I'm going to follow through.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helps me a lot. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you something I'm going through right now. I haven't experienced before. So I have a litter of puppies on the ground right now, and my dogs are different in this house. Now I have 5 adult dogs in the house, and with the puppies here, uh, dude, they're like I've got a stray cat. It's really my neighbor's cat, but they don't take care of it. So so it's on my porch all the time, right? So we feed it because they
So it's
don't
your
feed it.
cat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's your
yeah.
cat.
I was about to say,
So
so
now
you all have a
I don't
cat.
want the
Okay.
Yeah,
damn cat, but it's our
yeah.
cat now,
Just
right?
just
So
just say you have a
Famous
cat.
last
Yeah.
words.
I actually have a
Just
cat that we
accept it.
can
Just
name, and this
accept
is
it.
just a passenger that we've acquired, right?
Right, right.
So we might as well name the damn thing. But anyway, oh yeah, my daughter has. My wife said. So anyway, the cat's always on the porch, right? Front porch, back porch. If I'm up front, he's up front. If I'm up back, he's up back. Well, none of the dogs have a problem with the cat, right?
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden with the puppies here, when mama dog, or when they see that cat out there,
Yeah.
it's not the I'm alerting y'all that there's something out here. Like normally they bark to alert us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a bark not to us but to it as a warning. It's a warning
Yeah.
bark.
Right.
I can hear the tone difference. It's not like mom, dad, there's something out here, or my owners, there's something out here. It's like
Yeah.
they're warning the other
Yeah.
living creature that like, hey, you're
Get
not
your ass
welcome
on.
here.
Get off my
Yeah,
porch.
yeah.
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 Yeah. And
And,
that,
and I also noticed it. We had a friend of ours come over for dinner, and he brought one of the puppies from our last litter that he got from us. But that
uh,
puppy is now 6 months old and 60 pounds.
That's a dog.
yeah.
Like, it's
And
not a
and we
puppy.
have a litter in this house,
A
and
big puppy.
everybody's on guard about it.
Yeah.
So when the
Yeah.
dude came in, my
That's
buddy came in, the
natural.
puppy came in with
Yeah.
him,
That's what I was about to say too.
and I had all the dogs put up except my male Pressure.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's his son, but he
Uh-huh.
didn't care.
You think that normally
Yeah.
When
No,
that
you know.
puppy came in with my buddy, my wife jumped because she didn't know he was bringing the dog. When she jumped,
Yeah.
my dog lost it. Jumped on the
Yeah.
dog. I pulled him off, and I said, "What's the matter with you, boy? That's your puppy. You're tripping, right?" But mom had already
Yeah.
triggered him.
There's no child support there. You don't care.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So then I pulled him back and let him go, and he went right at him again. And
Yeah.
he's never done anything like that. And then when I pulled him back and put him up, even the dog's mother, the dog came in the living room and she was in her kennel and she was kind of like bouncing in the kennel, like, don't
Oh
come
yeah.
over here. You know what I'm saying? And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean, if she wasn't in there, she probably would have went at him if she had the
went at him
chance.
too.
Yeah,
So
that's
what's
not-
crazy
yeah.
to me is they've never acted like that around any other animal at all. And they're like that about everything right now. And I think it's the
so
puppies.
so many things in that situation that you just described could take place. So just to give some people some insight, besides like the general thought would be like, oh, you brought a dog into the house when there's puppies, so of course they're gonna go nuts, right?
Right.
Now think about, besides that, the things that can go into play,
I
like
figured this
the
would
le-
be a good topic to dissect because it just,
yeah,
No,
you know,
good
the
job.
leader, first of all, being the energy of the dogs, right? Do the
Right.
dogs have pent up energy? First of all, if they have pent up energy, it's the wrong time to introduce or bring the dog into a stressful situation, right? So that's first and foremost. Second of all, the leadership. If there's no established leadership in the household, and people might say, hey, I'm the leader, because I exercise them and I feed them and I clean their shit and I do all this stuff, and those are often like butler roles, not leadership roles. So by leadership,
right.
we mean creating the connection that the dog
Right.
has a clear understanding that you say what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and so on, right?
Right.
So secondly, establishing that leadership role. So if you can't stop your dog when they're trying to go somewhere or bolt at something or grab an animal or whatever, right, you should be able to have control of that dog. The
Well,
reason
here's
the
what makes
reason
this
the dog
situation
would do
unique.
that, yeah,
He was sitting right at my wife's feet, just hanging out.
yeah, yeah,
And laying on her feet. And the
right.
puppy came in, and when my wife seen the puppy, she jumped.
She jumped, yeah, and
That's
it
what
probably
triggered
startled him
him.
too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was an instant negative energy, right? And
Yeah.
he'd go into like territorial defense mode, right? But beyond that, having control of the dog, the reason I say having control, and I really mean that, not like physically having control,
Yeah.
or a well-trained dog like you see these Malinois trained that people like they drop to the ground and stuff, not like that.
Yeah.
I mean the dog. When I say leadership, I mean the dog knowing that you have his back, so he doesn't have to act like that. Like if I have a dog and there's a moment where they get insecure, most of the time dogs react or like go to protection mode over like their territory or their owners, is not because they're insecure, but it's some sort of disconnection with the owner, and they feel that they have to go into this protection mode because the owner doesn't have the handle, or the owner doesn't have the situation handled. So like if we're walking past a dog, other dogs, and my dog like gets a little alert, I snap at him and tell him to relax, and he goes back into a calm state of mind because he knows I have it under control, right? Same thing, like if I bring a dog into my yard and he gets into it with my dogs, and then I'll stop the fight, right? But I'm not going to separate them. I just make him become submissive to the situation. But as soon as he's submissive, I send my dogs away.
Yeah.
And that way he knows I'll protect him. I'm gonna have his back, and just like I would with any other dog in the yard, right? So you have to build this trust. You have to build the trust with the dog, and a lot of times people miss that whole part of building trust. And again, I think I spoke on it in my videos last week. But you do
So
that
how
by
does my
walking.
wife do that? So like I really wasn't present. I wasn't really, I mean, I was there in line of sight, but I wasn't really in that scenario with
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah, he had
I was
storm
kind of
in.
out of the
Yeah.
room. And
Yeah.
So
so,
again, it's the energy you present, having a call. I wouldn't let somebody like just walk in the house. I wouldn't
right,
say like, hey, just come on in. I would get up, make sure my dogs are calm and relaxed. Even if I got to make that person wait 10 minutes outside, I don't care.
Yeah.
I care about what's going on in here. And
right,
if they
Yeah.
came
right.
over
Yeah.
there, hopefully they won't leave. They're already here. They might as well wait. So make sure your dogs are calm. And then and same thing, if he has his dog with him, he needs to make sure his dog is in a calm state, not just allow it to come bolting into the house. And same thing
Dude,
when
yeah,
they should
for
walk in,
sure.
and the dogs need to all be chill. That's how you have control, or that's how you at least start to have control of the
Yeah, his
situation.
was off lead and just bolted in the house. That for all the dogs know, it was not welcome to
Yeah.
begin,
Right.
and
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell
plus
you,
the energy. If he comes in an excited energy, like I talk a lot about being calm and confident, right? Just
It's
that's leadership to a dog. Calm and confident energy. When people are like anxious or overexcited or like alert and all hyped up, that's not like a leadership type of energy. That's like a frantic, unstable
yeah,
energy to dogs, anyways. So it's much more natural for them if you're calm and confident. If you're calm and confident, then you get calm and submissive from the dog.
Well, let me ask you this. I have another issue. So I have one pit bull
Uh huh.
out of those adult dogs, out of the 5 adult dogs. And they're wired a little different. So like if something's outside, she's gonna be the one bark. You pull in my driveway, for example, you're gonna hear
Yeah.
one dog barking, it's gonna be her.
Yeah.
And when we come home and we've been gone and we come home, when I get out of the car, I can hear her just oh, 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 oh. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
she's
her.
just
Okay.
not gonna stop.
What do you
And
do beyond that?
I mean, she's just gonna bark. She's really not aggressive or anything like that. But
But what do you do? Do you stop it?
she triggers all of them to like this hyper alert.
Yeah.
She
And
triggers
like,
them because someone needs to step in and tell her, hey, that's enough.
well,
Eh,
that's the thing, dude. I tell you, I've really battled it with her. She's very
how long has this been
submissive.
going on?
It's been going on a long time because
How long?
we live in the country and we don't have company. So
Right.
like for
Ah,
someone to come over here is not a
it's a big
common
deal.
occurrence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
so
get that.
they
Yeah,
all
no,
get
I
so she triggers them all and they're all overly excited. And I have to put everybody up when somebody comes over for a
sure,
minute
but
because
but
they're
it's
just too
about
wound up.
if they've been practicing a behavior for so long, they're accustomed to it, right? It's a routine, just like they're a
Mhm.
routine, like they wake up and go outside and pee and they exercise and they eat. Same thing.
Right.
It's part of
Right.
it's part of a routine, or it's a ritual that she does.
Right.
So like for other dogs, rituals are like, oh, when my owners come home, we practice excitement. Hey buddy, how are you? How's your day? And
Yeah.
so that's a ritual too. So this is nothing different. This is just a ritual. When she hears a noise or somebody comes home or someone pulls up, she barks. The thing is, somebody needs to step in and stop it. And that's how you show leadership in that situation. Because, like you said, she gets the other dogs going and gets them all riled up. But if someone stepped in and stopped her, the other dogs wouldn't even think twice. They wouldn't even begin to do it. She
So
could be your
so you
she
say
could be your
stop
warning
her.
dog.
You
Yeah.
say stop
Uh,
her in what way? Because like let's say
Mm-hmm.
right now she's
Like
sitting
that.
right next to me and I have her
yeah,
even on a lead and my wife
yeah,
pulls her in the driveway. She went to Dollar General, let's say. Well,
yeah.
she's gonna start, barking, and if I say, all right, stop, and she'll stop when I tell her, and then she'll do it again, and then she'll stop if
Right.
I tell her, and then
So
she'll do it
so
again.
that's correcting. That's called correcting without following through. That's how you
Yeah,
make a correction. That's how you make a correction meaningless.
I
Whether
know
it's
it.
on a lead, whether it's verbal, but that correction eventually becomes meaningless because there's no meaning behind it. It's like when people see me correct a dog, like even physically with my hand, they think, oh, why are you doing this? That is the same thing as you saying, hey, stop, but the physical part is just to snap the brain. The brain gets focused on like this. Say the brain is focused on the noise outside the house, and that's why it's barking. The physical touch or the initial correction, whether it's physical or verbal, I prefer physical because that's more realistic to dogs.
Right.
Like they would just nip at each other to stop, you know. So I'll give them a little push or something. And but even a verbal, the correction is just to snap the brain out of that focused state of mind, whatever it's focused on. Next, you have to tell them what you want, right? So you have to follow through. And again, psychology, not human psychology, dog psychology, right? So in this case, how do we want the brain to be? Because right now, say the brain is in alert, say it's a high pitch, right? It's a alert, anxious bark. And now we want the brain to go back into a calm, submissive state of mind, right? So you have to correct and you have to follow through. And sometimes that means waiting and correcting over and over and over, right? But until the dog goes into a calm state of mind, and then you can walk away, or you see some sort of change. Like I'll follow a dog when they try to get around you or something, say the dog's barking at this or that or other dogs or whatever. I'll follow and stand there until the dog sits and you see the change in the disposition, almost like they sit over on their side, like they give up, you know, or it might be something like that, or you might see the like the breath, like they give up, you know. So some change in disposition, meaning you see it. If you watch for body language, you see the change in the ears. They go from alert to back and relaxed, or the eyes from wide to more chinky and relaxed, you know. So you see the change in body language. You have to understand how to read this stuff. And then you understand when the dog goes into a calm state of mind, and that's called following through. And that's what most people never do after a correction. That's why these leash tugs eventually become meaningless. That's why there's so much tension on people's leads, because they're meaningless. Or that's why people say, hey, come, get over here. Nibbles, get over here, you know, over and over and over until it doesn't mean anything, or the dog is just going to get sick of hearing it, and that's why he comes, not because he's listening to you, you know.
Right. It's not right.
Well, I've been down this road with her, and that's exactly what I did. If I'm right here, I'll correct, get her to calm down, trying to change, you know, out of that alert mode. I tell her like, hey, you're alerting me, and I know that there's somebody out there, so I don't need you to alert me anymore. You know, I'm trying to kind of have that communication with her, right?
Yeah, that's what you want.
But what happens is most of the time we all leave together or come back together, and so like, you know, I'm out there too.
In her head,
she's been going on one and got everybody on one before I can ever even get in the house, you know.
Sure, and that's a little more difficult situation to practice.
Man,
you got to practice.
Trouble with it.
You got to practice that more, like where you pretend to leave and you hide or something, right? But you don't want to leave her in an excited state. That's the thing, is a lot of people leave a dog
collar or anything like that for something like that, and like.
No, I would never. No, I wouldn't do an e-collar for anything like that. No, you have to be really careful with e-collar. I'd say 90% of people who use an e-collar should not be using an e-collar.
Yeah.
But like, in that situation, I would almost like pretend to leave. Like, say you walk out your door, I would stand there and just wait, you know. And when she starts barking or something, or when you guys, you know, pull up, like you come in or whatever, let her forget about it, and then somebody else come like 10 minutes later, and just practice it with people coming to the house, friends, family, whoever. But it's up to you to go in, or your wife or whoever, to go in and send her back to like that calm state, whether it's place, you know, on a mat or in a bed or in a crate or wherever, but send her away. Like, the barking is okay. I have a 220-pound English Mastiff that barks if he hears a noise outside my house. He's doing his job. But as soon as like me, my wife, or even the kids or anyone is like, Hercules, enough, you know, he'll go and back and lay down, because he knows, because it's been acknowledged. And that is the ritual that's been practiced, you know, since the beginning.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've been doing something a different way or wrong or whatever, or a dog's been doing a specific behavior for X amount of time. You just have to, the approach just has to be consistent, you know. So you have to start doing the same thing. Everyone in the house.
Then that's the other issue. I'm not the only one in this house.
Right. Everyone has to do the same thing. Yeah. That's
I've had
a tricky
lot of
part
trouble
too.
with that too.
Yeah, we had that trouble here with
common.
trying to get.
I'd say
things.
The other main issue I have here is like when we first come home, everybody's so excited, that like, and what I've been trying to do is, if they're not going to calm down before I let them all out, then I leave them put up. When we
Yeah.
get home and come in and sit down and do our thing and just kind of ignore them and let them calm down, and they
Yeah.
will. They'll take a few minutes, but they'll calm down and they'll get quiet
Yeah.
and they'll chill out. But as soon as I get
It's
up and I go
better.
to let them out,
It's
that's
better if you walk to them and tell them to calm down
right.
and
Okay.
stand there until they calm down, because you're letting them calm down on their own. So it's on their own terms, so
Mhm.
you're not in control there. They're calming down because they've eventually seen nothing's happening, and one by one they'll slowly start to calm down.
Yeah.
But you need to control it. So you need to say like, hey, that's enough whenever it's time, whenever enough is
Yeah,
enough.
that makes
Um,
sense.
For sure.
yeah. And then same thing when you go to let them out. Like, I don't know if you were about to say that they go crazy when you're about to let them out again.
Yeah, even if I get
But
them to calm down, when I go to try to let them out, it's
yeah.
right back where we started.
Yeah,
It's
so I wouldn't even move beyond the kennel or crate or whatever you got them in, or the door if it's to go outside or whatever. I mean, you have to, if you want a calm dog, you have to practice calmness. You
right.
can't practice excitement and expect a calm dog. I have buddies. Hey, Caleb, are you frozen or are you there still?
No, I'm listening. I'm loving this.
Okay,
I'm taking this all
Oh
in.
yeah, he's absorbing. This is this
okay.
is.
I didn't know
When
if he
I'm
was still
quiet,
there or
I'm
Talking
felt.
and not
absorbing.
talking. It's great.
I
You
forgot
usually put
what
the
movie it
handle in.
was. Well, I seen a movie with this guy who like tattooed eyeballs on his eyelids, and then he's like at a meeting sleeping like this.
Oh
Like,
my
anyways,
god.
Yeah, you hear me snoring here in a minute.
yeah.
No, this is
So
good info, man. I'm loving this.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you have to do this. You have to do this stuff, consistently all the time. Everybody has to do it in the household, and yeah, it's just gotta be a thing. It's got to be a ritual that you practice, like being calm, you know, practicing calmness in every situation. So like we teach our dogs again using human psychology all the time unknowingly. Amanda said she talks to her dogs all the time, and that's human psychology. That's using words and
So when we come
excitement.
home, we need to quit practicing excitement in that stage, right? So
What
like
do you do when you
when
walk in
we
the
get
house?
here, there's no hey, come here, let me love on you. None of that. We don't need to do none
Yeah.
of that, right?
But you're doing it
No,
now.
no.
You're saying like
Yeah. If that's what you're doing,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
I don't know that we do it right off the bat, but like when we welcome our dogs when we come home. But I think we need to start with, like you said, making them lay down and chill in their kennels before we let them out, and then when I need them
Yeah.
to stay in that state while I open the door and just let them come out,
Yeah.
but
And practice with them one by one. And some of this stuff takes a while and some of it takes repetition, but if
Yeah.
it's in a kennel, I wouldn't unlatch the kennel and open the door. If they start getting excited when they see you walking over, I would walk over and just stand there. You want your presence to be associated, like they don't know you as Michael. They know you as, they recognize you by the scent that you have. That's how they associate, that's how they know who you are, by the
mhm.
scent, and then the energy that you have. So the energy, if the energy you have constantly with them is either excited or anxious or frustrated or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying anybody. If that's what you
Yeah, yeah,
have, then that's the association with you that they're going to have. Like I my energy rises when it needs to, when I'm doing a correction, but then the follow through goes right back to calm and confident, right? So even if there's a dog fight, I'll split it up. Obviously, my energy is gonna, the brain chemistry changes, right? So your energy is
Yeah.
gonna change completely, trying to break up a dog fight or stop something, whatever is going on. But then the follow through, once you get them into a submissive state, then you have to follow through with calm. They have to know like there's nothing bad that comes out of it. It's just, this is behavior that we disagree with. We don't do this.
Mhm. Well, and
mhm.
So
you'd posted a video, and this was I think before you started doing your dailies, which are phenomenal by the way. Anybody that's watching, if you haven't seen them, you have to go back there. He's dropping the sauce.
Yeah.
But that it was a while back. You'd had a potential either tussle or a near tussle, and you were showing on video how you were keeping basically the perpetrator calm and getting him back to but it was just basically you making sure that he stayed where he was. He wasn't going to get
yeah,
up And all the dogs
Yeah.
are just kind of, all your other pack, they're just walking around, just waltzing around
Yeah.
like nothing ever happened, just, you know, no
Right.
feet out, whatever. And he's just laying, just like, can I get up
Sounds
now?
about right. Yeah.
And
Yeah. So what we want, well, in a situation like that, like I don't remember which one exactly, but in a situation like that, what we want is the dog to not be fearful of that situation, right? So essentially, when he gets into a fight, that again, the energy is so high, the frustration, the tension, everything, right? So when I split that up and I put him down, he needs to understand that I'm going to stay there. Like, I'm not pissed about it. I'm not, because the dogs don't take it personal, you know? So if you correct dogs like in a frustrated or angry manner, it's the worst thing you could do, because that's not, if they listen to you, they listen out of fear then, right?
Yeah.
They don't listen. We want them to listen out of trust, respect, and love, right? So I don't want them to think like to ever be in a fearful situation with me, right? I don't want them to listen because I'm angry at them or something. So in that situation, when I get them down like on their side, is that what you were talking about, right? Probably,
yeah,
like,
literally, you
yeah.
weren't doing anything other than every once in a while you're putting your hand like on the side of their chest, and
Yeah, I would just touch probably if he tried to like sit up or put his head up or something.
right.
Yeah.
No,
So
you weren't being
so
aggressive, you weren't being assertive, you were super calm,
just calm and assertive, calm and confident. That's it. And if you, that's what I need him to see out of it, right? He can't do that behavior. I'm disagreeing with the behavior that was going on, the energy. That's it. It's nothing personal. It's not like he's gonna have a thing out for this dog from now on, like, you know, or like I took it personal. So very calm, correct in that manner, and then just stay there. A lot of the time, people just need to take the time to just stay there and project the energy they want, because that's really what following through is. That, you know, it's no secret. It's like you correct and then you follow through. So I need them to get the energy that I'm trying to portray. They don't speak English, so I can't be like, listen, man, you can't do this anymore. You got to cut it out. You know, like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to send you down to that place again. You know, like you can't do that. They don't understand it. So
Yeah.
you have to portray that energy in the way that they can. That's dog psychology. That's communicating with the dog in a way that they understand. You know, so
And that's by correction without the anger, right?
yeah, no frustration, no anger, you know, just correction and then follow through. Like I said, your energy level is going to go up a little bit in some manner, whether it's anxiety, whether it's tension, whether it's frustration. In some way, it changes when a situation is happening. But more importantly is the follow through, not just that situation. So you see it, you see it all the time in videos. You guys seen that, like, I think it's like some like Asian dog yard or something on like YouTube. I keep seeing where it's like all these dogs and this little one dog, his name's like King Charles, they call him, this little dog, and he like rules the yard. All these dogs, if they're going at it, this little dog runs over and he'll stand right on him. He'll get him down to the ground and he'll stand right on them. And even these
he's like
big
a little pedango looking dog, like, and he's just
Yeah.
like a scruffy little thing that corrects
do you know
everybody.
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen the videos.
Yeah.
And it's like he's a scruffy
So the
little
owner
thing,
has
and all
trained
he
this.
does is he corrects all the bigger dogs.
No,
like,
the owner doesn't do anything. The owner
No,
records,
he's
and the
trained
other
this
helpers like
dog.
he lets
He's trained this
the
dog to
scruffy
do his
manage the yard.
job for him, pretty much. Like the dog is
he
doing.
he doesn't even have to train him to do that. That's the thing. See, dogs don't do that. Like in our household, we wouldn't allow that type of behavior, right? With the dogs.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. You hear people say all the time, this is the alpha in my yard and this is the alpha in my house. That's wrong. You should be the alpha in your house or in your yard, right?
Yeah.
So in that situation, those dogs are actually more well behaved than most dogs that you guys probably know, because they're allowing the dogs to figure it out. And same thing, when I rehab a dog, these dogs are going to teach a new dog a lot faster than I'm going to be able to teach it. You know what I mean? They communicate the way they're supposed to communicate, unless it's an unbalanced dog. That's where you have to practice dog psychology as a human and communicate and show them the way. Because in this case, the dog is doing that because there's no leadership, right? Like the guys feed them and they take care of these yard of rescue dogs, wherever country they are, but they're not doing anything really to provide leadership there. They're just taking care of them. That's it. Caretakers, So the dogs figure it out on their own and they establish their own hierarchy, based on what they have there. That dog doesn't matter the size or the breed or the sex or anything. That dog is the most leadership energy in that pack. That's why the other dogs
Wow.
respect him. And you see videos, I scrolled through them, some of them. So you'll see videos where they disagree with him and they try to fight, but it's about patience. The other dog could be barking and going nuts and everything, and he's just standing there like, yeah, come on, motherfucker. He just doesn't back down, you know? So he's like, so eventually the dogs, you see the change if you watch for behavior. Watch some of
Yeah.
these videos so you could learn the body language. You see the eyes start shattering, going back and forth, and they eventually the brain switches, and then they just turn away and walk away. You know, they give up, they go into
The bark
submission.
turns into a thing that turns into a
Wow.
roll.
Yeah,
It's never
yeah.
it's the craziest
The
thing. And for me, it's like it really, like, just like you said a second ago, Dima, is like it's something that either you will allow or won't allow. And in your mind, what situations or lifestyles or settings would you say that is not a good situation to have?
in any normal human household with pets,
Yeah.
you know, where we socialize our dogs and go into public places, and kids and rescues and grooming salons, you know, anywhere where there's dogs involved in normal society, we wouldn't allow that type of behavior. It would not be allowed, you know.
Good, good. So pack mentality wise, one of our friends, Adam, he's in the comments, and he's wanting to know what your thoughts are on pack mentality. And I'm not quite sure which aspect of it he means, or in a general sense, because you said it a second ago, where like your dogs are training and recalibrating these new dogs almost more
Yeah.
than you are, to a degree, because they have
Yeah, well, it depends what it is. Yeah, so pack mentality, in a sense, like you have to have a well balanced pack to be able to do what I do, to be able to take a dog that's not balanced and bring it in. You can't bring it into an unstable pack, dogs that are not well balanced, you know. Now there's differences in dogs, you know, there's lower energy dogs, there's higher energy dogs, and I have both in my pack. And and I'm going to determine which ones I use to help rehab dogs based on what that situation is, what that dog requires, you know. So I would challenge that dog, you know, in the way that's suitable for him, meaning, you know, not too extreme. I wouldn't put a very fearful, insecure dog around high energy dogs right away, because it's just asking for something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd bring him
Yeah.
more around like mellow dogs that are more likely, I mean, all of them they have to submit right away. And this is why when I bring a dog into the yard, if you've ever seen my videos, like me doing it in my yard, when I bring a dog in my yard, this is why, like, unless that dog is snapping right away or something and I have to get some control of him, I just drop the lead right away and let them just go. And the other dogs all swarm and smell, and he has to be okay with that. And if a fight happens, then I have to break it up, and we're going to keep doing it. He has to be okay with that. He has to become submissive. And sometimes you see it where they just, like, they smell, they realize, like, yeah, he's a little unstable, but he's also a little, you know, like, whatever, you know, he's a dog might be a little cuckoo, but he's cool, you know, and they'll invite him to play. You understand his
Yeah.
body language. And then if he does it and they'll start running around together and doing that stuff, they're integrating him into the pack. And that is where you step back and just let nature to, like, actually just do its thing. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily your dog, like his persona or attitude teaching the dog. It's nature. It's just as close as they can get. Oh, sorry. Hold on. What is this? Sorry, Cash App. Okay. Anyways,
It didn't show on
sweet.
this end.
Okay. So yeah, so a lot of the integration that happens is something that would happen naturally, or how dogs would do it, not necessarily naturally in nature. You don't see a lot of that in, like, wolf packs where they just walk up to each other and start playing. That's not really a
So
thing. Yeah.
let me ask you this: if you have a behavioral issue, and you're correcting it, and, like, they're listening, but only short term.
Yeah.
How do you get more control? Like, for example, I when I feed the dogs, I had a new dog added to the pack, right? And the previous dogs are used to coming into the living room, and I make them all lay down, and while I'm prepping everybody's food, they're all laying in here just chilling, waiting on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, was trying to teach her to lay down with the rest of the dogs and wait. And
Yeah.
she ended up learning, like you said, because watching them do it and all that. But I had a lot
Yeah.
of trouble teaching her to do it because as soon as I'd turn my back, she'd come at the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did.
Probably not following through, but more than that, like I was saying before, it's not like a trick like sit and stay. It's a very
Well,
it's a very
how
natural
long
thing.
do you like how long do
Well, I
you
mean,
follow through?
you stand there, follow through until the dog goes into a calm state. You know, if
Yeah.
she's just standing there looking at you like a dummy, you need to check yourself. Your energy might not be right. You know,
Yeah.
but you might have to, maybe grab her and sit her down and show her this is what you want, and then that's a correction. And then you
That's what
stand there
I
and
ended
follow
up
through.
having to do. But I was
Yeah,
curious if I did it right.
yeah,
That's what I
and
did.
that's
I kept having
okay.
to take her and lay her down. And
This is where I need you.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's fine.
and
That's fine. That's what if you think about it, like in the wild, like that's what a pack leader, like even a mom to her pups would do. How
Mhm.
many times a day do the pups get up and start nipping at her, and she's got to pick them up and move them away and over and stuff like that, and control what she wants. So it's the same thing. It's just
yeah.
the, the, like I said, being more physical. Like when I say physical, I don't mean like abuse. I don't mean like hitting your
Right,
dog.
right,
I just mean like physical. If you have to be physical, like if you have to grab the dog by the scruff, you have to use some force to push the dog away from you to create space or distance.
right.
So these are things
Yeah.
that dogs understand more, because that's how their brain works. That's how they're wired to think. Like distance to a dog equals respect. To some people, they don't mind that the dog comes and sits on their feet. I kick the dog away from me when it comes and sits on my feet. It's like I don't want you all up on me. Not to
Well, those
not to say that when it's like cuddle time, like we don't like chill with the dogs and stuff like that. Like watching a movie last night, we had the dogs chilling, laying with us on the slumber party on the floor. So that's one of the most natural things to a dog is
Yeah.
cuddling up as a pack.
yes.
So that's totally fine, nothing wrong with that, but in the right
But
situation. So
not at their not
Not
on
on
their
their
time.
terms. It has to be on yours.
exactly, yeah, exactly. It's when you invite, that's it.
So
It's like what.
how do you remedy that in a house? We've got a few people here and a few dogs too, and it's like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dogs
Y'all
come
gotta
and
do the
see
same
who they
thing.
want to see. Like if mom's cooking in the kitchen, they're all gonna want to be in there. And if
yeah,
she makes them all come in here, as soon as she brings them in here and gets in there, they're gonna take a few steps. Like, no, I'm not coming in there. And then and then next thing you know,
yeah.
they're all
So
back in there again, and she'll just
it sounds like they don't understand like boundaries,
yeah.
and it sounds like there's not a lot of follow through to get them to
She's
where
got
they
to
need to
does she
be.
put them
But
up? Should
even
she put them up
e-
if they? If,
no, you need to teach. You need to watch my videos actually, but you need to teach
I
like
did.
you need to teach these things, like under my principles of dog psychology. There's very simple things to follow, and if you follow those, if you apply those principles the way that nature intended, then you get a well balanced dog. That's literally the recipe for it, and it's not something like I made up. Like I'm not selling videos. Like watch my videos. This is
Yeah.
my method that I created. This is how dogs do it in nature. I studied it for a long time. I practiced it, and then just figured out a way that I could relay it to that in a way that most people can understand it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
And when it
I
comes to
will check. I'll check those
consistency,
out.
you
Yeah.
definitely need to. And the thing is also though, and this is a problem that we even have in our household where there's a matter of consistency not being in place. And like my expectation is that we're all doing the same thing in the same way, exerting the same kind of energy, trying to stick to the same routines, the same practices. And it can be kind of difficult with someone that, you know, is just not really wanting to exude that energy. They kind of want to be the friend.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally. Yeah,
and I'm like, I can't. But then again, in moments of, and this is where the contrast and the truth comes out, is that when they're wanting to play, when they're wanting to get rowdy, they go to one person. When they're nervous, when they are seeking comfort or confidence or support,
Person they
they come to this
respect.
one.
Yeah.
So, and in that moment, it's like, why do they do that? Well, because I hold them accountable. I, try to make sure that they do what I need them to do obviously more frequently than you do.
Yeah.
But it can be difficult when not everybody in the household is going to be consistent.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the dog will have, like, you've heard me talk about, like, associations with things, and definitely with people too. So, if it just sees you as this type of energy, and it's used to situations and those associations that it has in those situations with you, then it's going to be drawn to you. Like, my dogs go in the kitchen when my wife cooks, but they know that, because she lets them, and sometimes she'll throw them some shit, but
That's it.
but if I
That's
walk
what
in,
I said.
but
I
if
said,
I
look
walk
me
in the
the
house,
eyes
like,
and tell me you never, ever, 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 ever have fed them in that kitchen. And she's like,
me, oh, I do it all the time.
no,
But
that's what my wife. That's what I told my wife. I
oh,
told her.
oh, oh,
I said,
I
look
thought you were
me and
talking to
tell
me.
me you have
I do
never,
it.
ever. And she's
I
like,
do it all
well,
the
maybe
time.
once. Yeah.
No, I do it all the time, but on invite, and like,
Yeah.
if I walk in and they're in there, like she was in there cooking like a bit ago, and if I walked in there, they would walk away. They would walk out of the kitchen without me saying anything, because they know what's coming, because that's the association that they have with me, the energy, right? I would,
Yeah.
Nice.
that kitchen is a boundary that's been
Right.
created, right? That's
Right.
only allowed by invitation. You can't come into the VIP section unless you're invited in, right?
Yeah.
So,
I like that
so
analogy.
same thing. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
wait at the velvet rope, man. Wait at the dining table or something, or wherever.
Yeah.
But you create the boundary, man. That's why I talk
Right.
about boundaries a lot. It's part of my intro to dog psych program. I mean, I do like 2 whole weeks of training on just boundaries with people. So
Boundaries.
just to give you some insight, yeah, and in a lot of different situations, and on a lot in thresholds, and everything from floor change, like tile to carpet, like everything.
Mm.
So there's a lot of different stuff. So as far as that goes, man, that's just something that comes with practice. You know what I mean? Some dogs, you could do it. You can teach them a boundary, and they might understand it right away. They might understand boundaries easier than some other dogs. And some dogs, it's something that you have to practice consistently, for a period of time, especially when you're working on yourself as far as energy. Like Amanda's saying, like, not everybody might be into it as much as you in your household. Like
Yeah.
my kids definitely aren't into the shit as much as me, but the dogs are kind of at a level where they understand them, and the kids are able to tell them what to do
Yeah.
because of the way we are with them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Hey, Dima, you've hit on this a couple times. So when two males go at it, when they actually start, fighting, how exactly do you break that up? And then I know you said take the aggressive. We'll go into that. You answer that.
yeah, so breaking it up is going to depend on your situation. Honestly, it's going to depend on the dogs, whether you got 2 XLs or 2 little dogs that you could just grab them and yank them apart. You know what I mean? Or sometimes you
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't recommend sticking your hands in a fight with some big dogs. For me, I've had to jump in before. I've had to pull dogs apart and stuff like that. And people who have dealt with it know those situations could be messy. Shit could happen. You could get hurt. But when you get them apart, however you do, whether you use a break stick, whether you have help from somebody else, whether you walk out like me, most of the time, if it starts happening, it's when I walk away, and another dog will challenge another dog's like
Yeah.
space or something they got or something like that, whatever it is. Most of the time, if it's nobody's around is when it would happen. But very quick we'll hear that shit because the other dogs will go nuts, and we'll walk out. And or if sometimes it happens when you bring a new dog in and they start going at it, they're
Yeah.
going to disagree. The dog could go into like this like state where he's just in a fight state because he's completely new to this. This is how, and that's how they make decisions on stuff. They have to go through these stages of thought, before they can go into like a submissive state, which we could touch on that if you want. But to answer you, man, I would say once you break those dogs apart, you take the one that is much to your knowledge, as much sure as you are that that's the one that started it and put him
Yeah.
into that submissive state. It's hard to do if you don't catch it. Sometimes, I have to put both dogs. It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
I put both dogs into a submissive state, just to let them know when this shit happens and it goes down, this is what happens. Like everybody's paying for it,
Yeah.
So So yeah, and they have to stay there, you know, and sometimes they have to hold. I've sat there for 45 minutes wrestling dogs and holding them
Wow.
down and dripping sweat, trying to stay calm and not be frustrated during this. And
Mm-hmm.
summertime, you know, 90 something
Yeah.
degrees, humid
They're
outside. I
steadily
mean,
trying to get up, and you're steadily telling them just lay down
Yeah.
and stay there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a lot, man. This is why I always say
Yeah.
dog psychology first before dog training. And while this is dog psychology, the first part of dog psychology is draining energy, right? So I would
Yeah.
always start anything before an exercise like this. I would always take a dog on a really long walk or hike or rollerblading or something and just get the just super tired before we
Yeah.
practice this. Always dog psychology before dog training, you know?
Oh yeah. Tired dog is a receptive dog. I mean,
Right, and everybody worldwide's heard that saying that a tired dog is a good dog, and it definitely applies when working with dogs with behavior issues because it's again, if you've ever watched my videos or done my programs or done a consultation with me, you know that that's the first step is draining energy, right? And when I start with people, I teach them how to walk their dogs, and when I people are sitting here telling me behavior problems that they have with their dogs, I ask them, well, how much do you walk your dog? You know, that's what I ask. That's the
Yeah.
first thing, you
So
know.
much
And
energy
if you
comes
don't,
up.
if you don't know what to do, start there, you know, because even one of my on my 7-day live series that I posted, uh, one of my videos is, I think it's, I don't remember what I named it, but I think it's the walk will fix 80% of your problems, you know, or something like that. So like, and it literally will. It's because most people just don't do it, or they don't do it the right way. You know, they don't know how to correct or when to correct or even why to correct,
Yeah.
you know.
So after the fight, after you get them
Yeah,
submissive, so you actually allow them to
stay
go
there
around each other again, and then
right
you're talking
away.
about just the
Yeah.
follow up, just to make sure they're not doing the same
Yeah,
activity again.
you follow through until they're in a calm state, and that's when you allow them to actually get up. You don't just stop the fight and then get up. Or like,
Yeah.
you know, when someone is teaching a dog tricks and they say sit and the dog sits, you know, that's it. That's the end of it, right? Because that's human
Yeah.
psychology. Right? That's what we taught. Mission accomplished, here's the treat. Clap, good, you know? So like, you know, so so beyond that, we want we want the brain to change. We don't want the brain to just learn the behavior or learn the movement or whatever and create the association off that. We want them, if there's a fight, we want them to go into a calm state. What they get out of that is that you intervened and you stopped it, and you're not allowing any other behavior or anything. Not shit's happening until you relax, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to say like what I was talking about before is the brain has like 4 stages that it goes through before it makes any single decision ever. So, and this is something that happens in a split second, you know, and the brain goes through these stages. So it goes fight, flight, avoidance, or submission, right? And that's the way that the order that it goes through, and that's how it decides what it's doing based on the energy, based on the situation, based on everything,
Mhm.
you know, everything. So around it. So that's how dogs see shit. So in a single state of mind, and that's how they create their decisions. And based off that is how they create an association with something. So it has to go fight, flight, avoidance, submission, you know, and you see that you can think about this and probably put it into any scenario based on what the behavior that you see with dogs. Even in normal scenarios when dogs aren't fighting or something crazy isn't happening, you know, you see this stuff. But in a situation where the dog is fighting, obviously its choice was fight, and that's what it had
Yeah.
there, you know. I put dogs on lead before and they try to run, right? And they can't run away. They want to run away. They're not fighting me. They're not at that level, but they're
Yeah.
not, but they're trying to get away from the situation. They don't like it, right? So
Yeah.
that would be flight. And then what eventually, if you stand there and you give enough time and patience and calm, confident energy, you might get some sort of avoidance where the dog almost gives you like rear or side behavior where they like sit down
Yeah.
and turn away from you, you know,
Yeah.
avoiding you or lay facing the other way. You know, I wouldn't call that submission. I would just call it avoidance, even if they're laying,
I
Huh.
you
agree.
know, but and then eventually you get some sort of submissive behavior if you wait long enough. They can only stay in the same state of mind for so long. Eventually you're going to see the change, you know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Don't practice. I'm
This
not
is so
saying
interesting.
grab an aggressive dog and practice it.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying if you are in the situation or you pay attention to your dog's communication, you'll notice these things, you know, that they
Yeah.
don't stay in the Oh, I thought it's my neighbor. I thought it was my dog's barking. My bad. So I was like, my dogs don't bark like that. This neighbor over here, he's got like 8 dogs, and he just like lets them all out at the same time, and all they do is bark because there's these lagoons over here where these coyotes run around, and his dogs are right on the edge of the property over there, and all they do is just go nuts the whole time. So he gives them. I think he gives them like 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes at a time, maybe 3 times a day. That's what he does for those dogs. So you could see why that behavior is
Yeah.
going on, you know.
Have you
So
ever talked to him like about like dog psychology? Have you tried to like indulge in that with him, or is he just like, hey,
he's just,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna do my thing, you do your thing?
yeah, he don't give a shit. He was like
Yeah,
one of those
all
old
right.
guys that works for the city. He don't care about nothing.
That's gotta
Comes
be
home in the
frustrating
middle
to
of the
live
day.
next. Yeah, that's gotta be frustrating to live
It's
next
not
door. Like,
it, it's not my problem, man. You know, I don't really
yeah.
dwell on things like that. I try to help my neighbors, you know, and I there's this guy down the street with a Malinois that's nuts, and this guy's stolen 2 leashes from me. You know what I mean? So like, I try to help my neighbors. I've caught him in the street with this thing, fucking yanking him up a tree, chasing a squirrel, and lassoed his dog, and gotten bit by him, and taught him how to control the dog and walk the dog and correct him. And the guy's like, okay, he couldn't do it. I was like, you come back here and I'll help you, like later on, just walk over. And this guy will just disappear. He's done it twice. He's taken my leashes, so yeah, free help, free trying to give my neighbors free game, dude.
I know, free game, and they just run and take your leashes with them. So, speaking of free game, like this, not this last week, but the week prior, right? You were just going in hard in the paint with all these these tutorials and these videos, all of them with their own different subject matter, and
Yeah.
you were also in while doing that, while educating and enlightening and giving people clarity as to dog psychology and what you do. You were also as a reward for engagement, you were giving away a consultation,
Yeah.
which is a big deal. And I mean, one, it's high value, but two, it's a massive insight for somebody into their dogs. So
Yeah.
I know that this is not something that you've never done, because you and I have talked about that. But what kind of made you want to do this most recently? Is there anything that sort of like you started to notice around the community, or it was just a sort of this random like, screw it, let's do this again?
Kind of both, being that I used to do social media a lot, especially with like my Dabco stuff. My page, my Instagram page got taken down. I had like almost 90,000 followers on there. I built that up since like 2013.
Oh my god.
That got taken down. So I still have my Positive Vibes page, on Instagram. I have my new Positive Vibes page, or it's like it's a couple years old on Facebook, but all this stuff. And I wasn't on Facebook. I wasn't active for a while. And, being when you're not engaged, I mean, you see your shit just drop, so I thought I would just do something to just kind of build the engagement back up a little bit, and at the same time get people involved. Or my hopes are, like, when I post like videos, like, it's just talking about stuff that like the average person would like ask about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I tell people like share my videos, it's not to like, I'm not dropping links to sign up for my boarding program, or nothing like that. I'm just sharing information, and that's why I tell people just share it, so it could at least maybe possibly help somebody that really needs it.
Oh,
I like that.
100%. I mean, there are so many times when I say that you've saved dogs, I mean, I meant that shit. Like you've
Yeah.
given
Thank you. Yeah.
new life, and
Yeah.
in so many
Yeah,
situations.
because that's the biggest, going back to what you guys originally asked me, like why I started doing it, is like because I saw all these dogs with like behavior problems, and I'm like, why are these dogs all like, it used to be, and it still is, and I'm not involved as much. I used to work with a lot of rescues, training for a lot of rescues and helping them, not, like just because I got the business, but like they would rely on me almost, like
Yeah.
they'd be like, let's call the guy that could save these dogs, because like
Yeah.
that's how I started. And I was like, why are all these dogs in rescues? Oh, because they have behavior problems. Why are these dogs getting euthanized? Why aren't they finding them homes? It's like, oh, because nobody wants them. Why are they there in the first place? Oh, because of the behavior problems. It's like a fucking vicious cycle, I realized.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me I can fix these. Cause I was just like, you know, doing obedient. I was like a teenager, I was like doing obedience stuff for like family, friends, or anybody that'd give me $50, for my time. So like,
Especially at that age, man. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
yeah. So like, I was like, I could do this because I dealt with rough dogs, and I would like, I knew just, people just didn't know. I just recognized that at an early age, like people just didn't know how to communicate, like how dogs communicate, so I learned that, I taught that to myself, and then just started applying it, and then realized that it could help way more dogs than I thought. Originally I thought it was just gonna get me some business, so,
Right?
but you know what, it's like all these rescues, they have trainers, like they're not their own trainers, but they have trainers that they work with that help the rescue for a discounted price. I mean, half the time these dogs end up back in the rescue, and it's because they're not teaching them the way that they should be teaching them. These dogs need to be reconditioned. The brain needs to be reconditioned, rewired
Mm-hmm.
to think like a dog. There's been so either treated like shit or so humanized that the behavior became so explosive, or
Yeah.
whether it's, super hyper active or whatever, they give these dogs up because they can't handle the behavior, and then
But
and then they don't fix it, they don't fix it. Look at the rescues, like posts and stuff that they post about the dogs. This dog requires no other dogs in the home, this dog requires, and that's almost every fucking dog you see at a rescue. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
that's true.
It's a dog, it should be around other dogs. That's how it's going to be a well-balanced dog.
Yeah.
I've never once have I like looked at a dog and been like, nope, you have to be by yourself in a crate rotated for the rest of your life. Like, never have I thought
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
I've always been like, I'm putting them out. They get into it, we're gonna fix that shit. And that's just what you do. And then they figure it out and they live a much healthier lifestyle. Don't take two fucking dogs that hate each other and throw them in the yard and say, well, listen to what Dima said. Don't do that. Go take them with another person 4 feet away from each other on a hike for 5 fucking miles. Go walk 3 hours with them with some water and do the thing that the most natural thing dogs can do is migrate in nature. Go do that and spend time and build that bond as a pack, and then introduce them by sitting 4 feet away from each other in a calm manner. You know what I mean? Give some water, which is life to dogs, and then
Mm.
walk closer. Then one person walk those dogs eventually after a couple times of doing it. Then walk them on the same side of you. Then let them walk free off the leash next to you, step by step by step. So people take a lot of what I say and they're just like, let me fast forward real quick, and they just
Oh,
fucking
here's
throw the
yeah.
dogs. Nope, that guy's a dumbass. Don't do that anymore. So no, it's not like that, dude. Just don't do you have to do it the right way. Do it step by step. Don't do what I do half the time. I can handle it.
Well, yeah, and the
Yeah.
thing is, it's like your pack, and so there are certain things like, and again, you also have had years of experience of like noticing triggers, like little different body movements and behaviors that like the normal dog owner hasn't learned to recognize yet because they
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to learn what you've learned.
Yeah. Yeah, no, none of it. I don't
Definitely.
think any of the behavior problems that we see in most dogs nowadays is intentional by any means, or not corrected by any means. People just don't know. I'll see dogs at people's houses acting a fool, and the people are just standing there like laughing, like that's my dog, and I'm just like, like you just
Oh,
like,
Ernie.
so yeah. Yeah, so
What are some of the
it's
ways?
not intentional.
What
Yeah.
are some of the worst ways that people humanize their dogs, would you say?
Rewarding negative state of mind, when like fearful state of mind is a big one. People often reward like an insecure Slim sit. People are often rewarding like an insecure or a fearful state of mind all the time. People do it, like say your dog's scared of something, I don't know, fireworks or thunderstorms or whatever, or your dog's nervous to walk into a new area. That whole squatting down and that really weak energy of like, it's okay, like that's nurturing a very negative state of mind. And people are constantly, that's a big one, people are constantly doing,
What
so
would be an alternative to that to kind of give them, because now she's since passed, but one of my older females, like she was terrified of fireworks, and thunder and lightning, and
loud
so
noises,
yeah, and it was just one of those things. At least our boys, the people
I
who
would do.
were
It
kind
depends on I've dealt with dogs, like that. It depends on the severity of the situation.
yeah.
Some dogs, like I have a pit bull. He's helped me rehab over 200 dogs in his like experience of life.
Mhm.
I got him in like 2013, and he came from a dog fighting ring in Hammond, Indiana, in the hood. I
Wow.
went there. I was the only white dude. I was in the ghetto. I walked up to the house where they told me they just busted the fucking dog fighting ring, and it was just some rescue folks. And I'm like walking. I walked up to the wrong house. Actually, don't do that. And I walked up to the wrong house, and they're like, "Oh, you looking for the pit bulls?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You want some crack?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Where's the pit bulls at?" He's like, "Next door, dude." I was like, "All right." I rescued. Sorry, got off topic there. Yeah.
I'm sure you've got some stories.
That dog helped me rehab over 200 dogs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In his lifetime. Not a lot of dogs can do what he did, but he was in situations like loud noises and shit like that. So I expected that from him. I don't ever expect behaviors. I always lead with intent, and then if something happens, we correct it. I don't ever like sit there thinking before I walk out, oh, this dog's going to be nervous around other dogs or something. So as far as the loud noises thing, when there was like thunderstorms and fireworks and he was scared, like there was a thunderstorm and I came outside and I sat with him, and you have to go through those emotions. That's rehab, like you're not going to fix the problem by not dealing with it. Same with aggressive dogs. You're going to have to deal with it if you want to fix the problem, or you're going to live a life of them avoiding each other or other dogs, or do the whole rotating situation for the rest of your life if you want, whatever you want,
So in that
So
particular situation, when you're just sitting with him, you're not
yeah,
petting him because that's giving
no,
him almost.
no,
You're
yeah.
just sitting with
I'm
him so
letting,
he can
I'm
trust
just
you.
being, I'm just the calm presence there,
Okay,
and he has nothing else to look up to except me. So
I
I'm
like
just
that.
being the calm presence,
I understand.
and he just chilled when we did that. I mean, that was the first time I rehabbed some dogs, for a couple years
Yeah.
before him. That was one of the first times I seen a dog almost like what I could call seizures happening during
Yeah,
the rehabilitation process. When a lot of dogs, I've seen it plenty of times since, but when you lay them down on their side in a very extreme situation where they're panting and their energy level, anxiety's at 100, man, and
Yeah.
you lay them down and you're forcing them to stay down, and when you start letting go and not they have to stay because they know you're not going to let them up, but you're letting go and they're mentally, their brain is starting to work and stay in that calm in that situation. They start doing this like shaking thing, and and I've seen some go into like a very bad like shaking and eyes
Yeah.
rolling, like where most people would think, oh my god, what are you doing, a fucking exorcism on my dog, and I mean, I've had all sorts of situations, man. I've had people fucking pull me
God,
off their dogs and stop,
really?
because they don't like the physical aspect, the touch that I put the dog down on its side or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are just very against physical. They think any sort of physical touch is abuse, and they don't want you to
Yeah,
work with their dogs. And that's fine. I'm not the trainer for you, man. That's fine.
yeah.
But
There
the
needs
guy
to
at
be a
Petco is
level of
not going to help
physical.
you. you know,
No, no,
you're
no.
gonna end up giving your dog to a rescue, and I'm gonna fucking have to end up hitting him up or helping them anyways. So it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
might as well get it over with now
Yeah.
and get
But
it
the
off.
presence, Caleb, that's what matters more than anything is the presence, man.
yeah,
How you are, how your dog views you. If again, don't practice this if it's your first time just saying, hey, I'm going
yeah.
to fix this dog's problem. You have to be viewed as this calm, confident, present. I talk about posture a lot. and your intent and how you breathe and everything, and all this
Wow.
stuff plays a role into how the dog sees you. If you're holding all this stuff in and you're very tense, or even if you're walking tense and looking down like this, people are creating a lot of tension here, and all this is just a transfer of energy through the leash, and that's how the
Yeah.
dog sees it. So you have to make sure, I always have a loose leash, I
Yeah.
always just keep it short, just short, not tense.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because that's one of those things where, like, especially people that have dogs that they're just, you said it a second ago, where they have to crate and rotate for the rest of their lives, and there's so much to be said about it. They're just like, oh well, no. Once they have a fight, they'll just never. It's over. Like they'll never get along any other day for the rest of their life. And
Well, because again, in that situation, that dog created an association. And if that's the last association he has with that dog or with dogs,
Mm,
period, worse, and then you separate him. That's what most people do when the dogs get in a fight, is they separate them. It's the
Mhm.
worst. It's the worst thing you
yeah.
could do.
I would
You know?
say prison is a good example of this type of thing. You would think you get all these tough guys in a controlled environment that it's just going to be this endless cycle of violence. And of course there is violence in prison, right? But they sort it out
Yeah,
and
and there's
learn
a
how
lot
to
of control.
cohabitat. And the dogs in a pack are the same way.
And not that I recommend it. Not that I recommend it, but if the dog's like got in a fight and you let them figure it out instead of breaking up the fight, yeah, you might have to get some stitches or clean up some blood or something maybe. I'm
They'll
not
sort it out.
condoning this. By the way, I'm not
Right,
condoning
right.
this by any way, just for the record. But they would figure it out very
They
quick. I
would
got to say
figure
it.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
would figure
that's
Yeah.
what
they
I
would
was
figure it
saying.
out very
In
quick, man. Yeah.
in comparison, the same type of thing in that controlled environment, they figure it out.
because
It's like
they're having a conversation. They snarl. A lot of it is very vocal, right? You
Yeah.
hear the snarling, the muzzles, but they're not like killing each other. Yeah, there's situations, but I'm saying most cases, these dogs are disagreeing over a fucking piece of meat or a stick or a ball or something stupid. So
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll
once
fight
they
over that,
once they
but
do
generally
this
they won't kill each other over that,
once
right?
they do this biting at the shoulders, they do a lot. That comes from old bulldog fighting dog traits. You see this a lot where they go, like game dogs used to go for the shoulders. You see this a lot in dogs, not in bullies especially, I'm saying. But they do this biting thing and they snarl, and then they stop and they're growling at each other, and eventually, if you watch this behavior, if you're ever in this situation or watch videos, you see one of them stands its ground and the other one slowly, the behavior, the brain switches. You could see when the moment, if you watch for it, you could see the moment when the brain actually changes and goes into like a avoidance state, not a
Yeah.
submissive state, unless that dog's got him down and he's making him submit. But it'll
Yeah.
go into like an avoidance state and walk away. Maybe try to challenge again and then walk away. You see it all the time. So
Well, yeah, and I noticed that like smaller, the smaller they are, sometimes the the more that they're jockeying for that position, because we have to know,
that's humans' faults.
huh?
That's humans' faults. If the dog is smaller, you see it with smaller dogs a lot.
Well, yeah, they're just but I also feel like that's a lot of humans not correcting the behavior just because the dog's small. They think, well, it's cute almost.
Right,
Um,
exactly. So over time they develop those behaviors because smaller dogs, humans feel bad for them more. They give
yeah,
them more. They give them more
Yeah.
affection. Not the
More
recipe. They
leeway.
don't give them. They don't give them exercise discipline affection. They
yeah,
don't. They think they're 8, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, so they don't got to walk them 3, 4 miles like they do the big dogs. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah. Oh no,
So
and I
so
noticed that my like my pocket is a little bit more assertive than my XL, but my XL will definitely not tolerate his buffoonery, but at the same time,
yeah,
I like how you put that.
yeah.
because that's 100% what it is. I mean, his whole head could fit in his mouth, and
Yeah,
he would
What do you
yeah.
know.
think?
They don't
Do you
care
think it's
about.
because we're harder on bigger dogs because we know if they do bite down, so we're letting smaller dogs get away with more too, so
Yeah,
they feel
yeah.
more
So people
inferior because they are.
people, they're not, though. That's the thing, is like most of them aren't, they're much easier to work with, much easier to drain their energy than smaller dogs, I
Yeah.
feel like, unless they're a
Okay.
working breed, unless they're a
Yeah.
working breed. But
Yeah.
I don't think they require any more. I think humans just naturally do it because in the back of their mind they're like, man, I got this Corso, I got to work his ass so he don't ever get out of line, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And they
Right.
think like that. Unfortunately, I've
yeah.
worked with plenty of Corsos, that got out of line. So
Yeah.
it's not any different than any other dog if you don't do things the right way. Some
Right.
Yeah.
dogs are some. I'm not saying like, again, not just for nothing being taken out of context. I'm not saying like, oh, you fail as a dog owner or training, you failed if you don't apply the principles of dog psychology. Sometimes you apply them unknowingly, by showing leadership. As a leader, you might naturally be a leader, and apply it. Sometimes I see people that are leaders in real life, they're CEOs and all this stuff, and then they get home and they're weak to these little dogs, so then the dog is the boss at home. And then I see, yeah, and I see all sorts of different situations, unknowingly, unintentionally, where we create them ourselves. So it's all
Yeah.
humans. you know? The
Hey,
dogs.
hey, Dima.
If you watch documentaries or anything about wild dogs, videos about wild dogs, or wolves or anything in the wild, they don't have these behavior issues like dogs have. If you look at dogs in other countries where they're wild dogs, like Mexico, they don't have these behavior issues. It's American
Yeah.
dogs that's the problem.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So
We
it's
definitely
us.
do
So
treat
it's
Yeah,
us
them.
that's the problem.
Damn
hundred
We,
percent.
Americans.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, for
Hey,
sure.
so you said that 80% of the problems can be fixed with the walk. So tell us what the
Yeah.
position of the dog during the walk, especially when you're starting to train that dog for these 3 mile walks and things like that, to position
Yeah.
in front of you, next to you, behind you, because that's the form of leadership
Yeah.
that starts
Ne-
with the walk.
yeah, next to you or behind you is ideal. That let the dog kind of choose his place, especially if you're
Okay.
doing it with a pack of dogs. Let
Mm,
he'll kind of fall in the pack, and there's different energy level of the dog is going to determine if he's a front of the pack or a back of the pack or a middle of the pack type of dog. And it's kind of cool to watch that just happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
never really in front of you leading the way unless you give that freedom and say, free or whatever
Okay.
your word is, to let them go and explore, do whatever. I kind of let them do that maybe as like a reward, but most of the walk we're walking, and the ones that I don't trust are leashed up, and the ones that I do trust are walking off leash. And sometimes we get some stragglers here and there, and it's good to have someone with you in the back of the pack, keeping everybody up too. That's another leadership trait, is
Yeah.
involves, leader will walk in the back of the
Uh-huh.
pack, not always in the front of the pack, or they'll
Right.
move
Yeah.
around. So
Mm-hmm.
yep, so they'll keep all the dogs in line. And yeah, man, I don't know, I would just go about that way, with the leash thing, just always next to you or behind you, not letting them just, like, a walk is, you have to think about a walk, like why we do it. We don't do it because we enjoy nature, or we want to go look at like the birds and the bees. We do it for dogs because it's because it's like, all that stuff is great. I enjoy walking through
Yeah.
nature. But we
Yeah.
do it because it's migration for the dogs. That's how we drain mental and physical energy at the same time, mental being much more effective. This is the first thing they would do in the wild, is they would wake up in the morning and they would go for a walk. Now, again, not to look at the fucking trees, but to migrate, to from one area to another, to hunt, to work. There's
Yeah.
structure in the pack all day. They're
Mm-hmm.
working. Their brain is getting tired. And that's pack mentality. And that's kind of what they do, man. That's why we practice. That's why I say the recipe for a well-balanced dog is just, it's three things. We can go into detail for hours and hours and days and weeks about each one, but it's
Sure.
essentially it's just exercise, discipline, and affection. So we
Mm-hmm.
always start with the exercise first to drain physical and psychological energy, right? And then we could do some discipline, rules and boundaries and stuff like that. We apply these in order, so we never like wake up and snuggle and wake up and feed. We wake up and walk. We don't
Yeah.
talk. Hey, how's your sleep? We don't talk to the dog. So we wake up and we walk, we exercise, we drain energy first. It sets the pace for the day. And then You could do various things throughout the day, you know, for structure purposes. And then you can reward with affection. It doesn't have to be like you have to wait till nighttime to reward with affection. But when you practice these things, you do it in that order. So you never wake up and start giving affection first, you know, give some sort of work
Done
first,
everything
even if
for it.
it's,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know,
giving them
even
reward before the yeah.
right, right. It's just another, and you do it so much unintentionally again, you know, that's how these things slowly build up as the dog then thinks, you know, he can get a treat for sitting by the back door, just walking outside. They fake you out. They'll walk out, walk back in, give you the damn treat, human, you know? And
Yeah, they're training you at that point.
yeah,
100.
100%. They got you trained before you even know it, man. That's the thing, you know? That's
That's
where I
how they
come
Like
in.
did my
Amanda's
wife when
birds,
she
like Amanda's
she
Yeah.
birds.
she lets them out, and they want a treat to come back in, and
Mhm.
they won't come in without a treat. With a treat, they'll come right on back in, you know.
Yeah.
And
Rivalry.
I just, it's not a hill I want to die on, but you know, I said, well,
You're
you've
not
done
above
this to
rivalry.
yourself. You've done this to yourself.
That's
Uh,
funny. Yeah. Yeah. Some dogs, like I said, unintentionally, we build these, you know, they're not all need to be called bad behaviors, but quirks, little fucking things, you know, and you hear weird shit with people's dogs all the time, you know. You could be
my
talking
biggest
about
issue is just coming home and everybody being just through the roof
wild, yeah.
excited, and
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to get them to understand that. Like I don't want all
I
that. You know.
Yeah, you have to first think about if you're draining energy, you know, and setting them up for that, you
Well,
know.
if we're gone for a minute, it doesn't matter if I'm gone for 15 minutes or an hour.
Mhm.
If I leave the house and go,
But what do you
you
do
know,
before you leave the house with them is what I'm saying, you know.
well, I usually let them out for a little while before we leave. But if we're gone to go, say, to Sam's to go grocery shopping, no, no matter what, when we come back, they're gonna act like we've been gone for a month, and they're
Yeah.
just gonna be so excited.
They
And the
might
bit,
have your dogs might just have a lot of pent up energy, you know, that
yeah,
needs
I think
drained, you
so.
know.
Yeah.
I would walk them. I would start with putting them on slip leads and just walking them for, you know, go on some nice hikes and drain that energy, and then practice. Have somebody, you know, have one of your family leave and then come back in 20 minutes and pull up and honk the horn or ring the doorbell, and you practice correcting them, you know, and
Hmm.
getting them to
Yeah.
relax. And
That's
then
a good idea.
you don't allow them to walk in the door or walk through the door until they relax, you know. And you do this over and over and over again, and eventually they'll learn to respond to the correction, because they're not going to, I mean, I wouldn't start giving treats or saying good boy or nothing like that just because they're quiet for a sec or they relax. You know, I would wait for them to go into a calm state, be serious, be confident about it, have the proper intention, you know. And just yeah, I think the biggest thing with people is they have a hard time when I have to work one-on-one with people. One of my biggest challenges is teaching people how to display the energy that they want, because they know what they want, they say what they want verbally, but then the approach is much different, you know. And
That
that's where the dog
confuses the
needs to
dog,
take
I
you.
guess, huh?
Yeah, it's just not going to take you seriously. That's what the dog takes seriously the most, is the energy, because that's the intent. That's the language that you don't hear. That's, you know, like, I don't have to say sit for my dog to sit. I can almost look at my dog and the dog knows what I want, because it's a communication that we've created, you know what I mean? So you have to have the right intent, you know, and practice it. So
That makes
Dang.
sense.
Oh no, definitely, and it's one of those things where it's like I was going to mention it earlier, but because Mike, you were talking about how your dog she barks, you know, whenever she thinks she hears something outside. I got in the habit of, we have this window that's next to our front door. That's a, you know, just they're almost not right next to each other, but several feet away. And Adonis got this habit of whenever he hears something, his whole body. This is my XL, so he's a big dude. He puts his whole top part of his body in that window and stares down whatever's out there. And he
right.
may bark at first, but I've gotten into the habit of walking over, putting my hand like on the back of his shoulders and looking out with him and like, I see it. And then I walk away. And then
Yeah.
he's just like, oh, okay. And then jumps down and
Yeah.
starts walking off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because like, because again, obviously the first initial instinct is to alert, um, or to
Yeah.
deter. And like, I go up there and I'm just like, "Oh, I see him," and walk off.
Yeah.
And I guess that
So
maybe he
that's
was looking.
almost like a cue. That's almost like you're giving a cue like that it's okay, so he can walk away.
Yeah,
So
so I
it
see what you're up. Yeah, and I'm not seemingly concerned, because I'm just like, yeah, I see him. I'll walk
right.
away, and I think
Some
that is maybe he's bored at that point. He's like, oh well, I thought I was going to get you all excited about this, but you're not excited, so I'm done.
right, exactly. Now your approach to it is something that I would see as like I've almost had to tell people to come up with something to say that
Uh-huh.
would make themselves calm down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like if you walk up to that in like a frustrated manner, or maybe like, ugh, not again, or
Yeah,
I want to help him but I can't stay calm. I would make people sometimes come up with a phrase that they say themselves, kind of similar to what you said, to almost help themselves get into a calm state, and
yeah,
be like, yeah, there's nothing there, that's good, or
yeah,
like, thank you, or something, like, like I've had people say thank you when the dog barks at the door when they hear somebody, and then they excuse the dog. They're like, thank you, that's it, now that's all you're needed for, and then the dog goes away. They're like, oh, okay, because they feel that it gives the human the energy, like, oh, okay, cool, the dog did its job, now we can excuse him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like almost, so it makes it easier for some people to come up with like I always say like single word or single syllable corrections, stuff like that, just because it's very
yeah,
easy. Yeah, or just like one or two words is
Mm.
good. But in that case, he probably recognizes, obviously, that your energy, he got you over there because he thought he heard something,
mhm,
and then you give him the reassurance that there's nothing there, and then that's it, that's the end of it, and then you walk away. So
yeah. I mean, it seemingly works with him. The little one, not so much, but that's also because like he can't see out the window because he's short.
What is it?
short
What
people
is it?
problems. Yeah,
He's like, I can't see.
yeah,
I hear
yeah.
it. I hear it. It's like, oh my god. Yeah,
It's
the
always
pot.
the little ones.
He's so unruly. And the thing is it's I can't. There's an energy level there that I need to take your advice and just really just work him out. Adonis is the big guy. He's just easier to maneuver, I guess, not even just in a physical
Yeah.
sense. Because if I want him
It-
to go away from something, I just put my hand on his shoulder and I just kind of move him. I'm like,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
And he
So he's
goes.
very passive. Yeah, he's very
Yeah,
passive. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and you like, that's what I was saying, is like breed. It's not really breed specific, because you could have the same breed, but dogs of low energy, high energy. It's all different. Just like people, we're all humans, but some people are low energy, some are high energy. Same thing with dogs. Um, but I would focus, like with your smaller one. I mean, I wouldn't focus so much on just draining energy, because
yeah.
that's what people, they hear me say that. That's what we do
And then
first is
that's what
exercise. Yeah, so that's what they jump to right away. Let me just drain the shit out of my dog and run him 10 miles and see what happens. So I don't recommend necessarily focusing on that as much as connection. I would focus more on connection than correction. So I'd focus on building the
Mm.
relationship, so he views you as a calm, confident leader. And then when these situations occur, like you're walking him and another dog's across the street, he's not going to freak out because he knows you got it. Or
Yeah,
there's something outside, a noise outside, he doesn't need to get all crazy because you walked over and you sent him away. He knows you got it. So these that can help a lot, is just building the connection with the dog. And that's really done by, like I say, exercise, discipline, affection.
yeah,
um what that really builds is, like, you do exercise, so you're providing something that drains physical and mental energy, and then turn that's trust. You can do exercise, discipline, affection, you get trust, respect, and love. So you build trust by providing the draining of the energy. You fulfill these needs that a dog has. Our dogs don't know that they would be walking through hills hunting food, you know, but we have them here, so we have to do something that still fulfills them as a dog, you know. That's why it's
Yeah.
like I hear people say, "Oh, do you feel bad putting them in kennels for the day?" It's like, not really, man, because they're, you know, we're outside for 2-3 hours in the morning first, you know, so
Yeah.
they're fine, they're okay, you know, they're sleeping
Yeah,
most of the time. So,
they're ready to go to go to bed right
yeah,
now.
yeah, they're begging for it. In the summer, the tongue's hanging out, you know, they drink some water and they lay down. I don't put them away in the summer. They're in the yard, you know, they're just
Mhm.
enjoying themselves. But yeah, most of the time, you know, we get that respect by creating like structure in their life, by creating like these rules and boundaries and limits that we stick by. We create rules and we're strict on them, you know, and then the dog understands we're the ones that create them and enforce them. And same
Mhm.
thing with like boundaries, like I was talking about, like doorways and the gate to the yard and thresholds, and it could be the edge of the sidewalk on your property, it could be wherever, it could be inside the house, it could be a boundary, it could be the bed. Like when I send mine to place, I expect them to stay there. I don't expect them to lay with their feet hanging off the edge of it. I expect them to place, you know. So if I start walking towards them, they move their feet back because they know I'm a little more serious, you know. So it's all about like that connection, and that builds the respect when you implement things like discipline, you know.
Right.
And then love, of course, is affection. You have to give some sort of affection. You can't have you know, most of the time, well balanced dog, while I was saying the recipe is just very simple, it's exercise, discipline, affection. You
Mhm.
can't have the one without the other or any way
Yeah.
around it. It's like, you know, you can't make,
Right work.
you know, like you can't make food certain ways. You can't make a recipe to something and switch it up and think it's going to be okay. Like I can't crack the eggs on after I bake my cake, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm
So if
saying?
somebody
So
if somebody's either a new dog owner or they have a dog and they're trying to get on the right track and they're going to look at your content, what path do you recommend they take there? Where do they start in as far as what you have on your page?
um
Video
honestly,
wise or just, you know.
yeah, I post some stuff on my page. I do lives every once in a while, but I just kind of got back on Facebook, so I haven't been on for a while. There's really not too much. I have some videos that are on there that I think Facebook said it's going to start deleting in like a couple days or a week.
Yeah.
But I just made a YouTube. I did make a school thing. I haven't
Mhm.
really done much with it since I've made it yet, but I plan to. My biggest thing, I have a plan. I have a content creation plan for 2026. So I'm very
Nice.
I'm very bad at creating content. Like I think I can create good content as far as
Mhm.
filming my training sessions and stuff like this that would be helpful to people. But I don't want to put myself in the space of like content creator and people just scrolling on reels and they see, or shorts, and they see my videos. That's not my goal. My goal is like to actually help people. i
Yeah.
don't believe I don't believe that watching like a video, a 30-second video on YouTube is going to help anybody, you know. And you know, and that's just me personally, you know what I mean. So if someone really wants to um learn dog psychology, I recommend there's several books on dog psychology out there. I'm not biased to any of them. There's plenty
Mhm.
of them out there. Um, and there's plenty of information out there that you can watch besides mine. You know, I don't
Yeah.
like I said, I don't post that much content, but yeah, besides that, I don't know, if you want to learn dog psychology, I train trainers, you know, I train everybody from the average dog owner, from the first time dog owner, all the way to people who have
So
breeding
you prefer
programs.
somebody to get with you and start wherever they're at.
Yeah.
I mean,
Consultation.
not. Yeah, I mean, I always do a consultation before I would train with somebody, but
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend if they're wanting to go with me. But like I was just saying, is there's plenty of stuff out there. There's plenty of books out there. There's plenty of videos out in the world that people can learn from.
Mhm.
For me personally, some people enjoy learning from watching videos. That's fine for me. If I'm learning something, I like to work with somebody directly because I feel like that's the most effective thing. And especially in dog psychology, it's not something that um really is just like read and understood. You know,
Yeah.
you have to see it in a play. A lot of times, like what I like to say is like seeing is believing, because like I've have to come to people's houses sometimes because they absolutely can't do what they like. I almost have to show them the impossible. My dog is not going to walk on a leash for you. Okay, cool. Let's go. You know what I mean? And then we do it. Or my dog cannot be around other dogs. And then I bring my pit bull, Roscoe, that I rescued from the dog fighting ring. And, you know, they're fucking friends by the time we're leaving, you know? So it's like, seeing is
Yeah.
believing. So, you know, working one-on-one with people in person is the best for me. But although I do have handfuls of clients from all over the country, I have a couple even out of the country that I just do video chat with, you know, and a lot of my training is really verbal with the human, and then they got to kind of put it into play. And that's why I always tell people, just hit me up for a consultation. You know, maybe I can help you. Maybe I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
what's
Right.
puppies.
It
How do
starts
you
there.
integrate puppies into the pack? At what age, and how do you go about that?
Um, I'd say from like a safe age. You know, for me personally, if we're doing years and stuff like that, then I kind of wait till they're healed up so they don't get torn up or nothing like that playing, you know.
Yeah.
And then kind of just start letting them go into the pack, man, you know. I don't really, by that time the mom doesn't want nothing to do with them anyways, you know. And
Right.
Yeah.
um
That's true.
and you know, pick a couple good dogs for them to be around. If you have dogs in your
I like
pack
that.
that are unbalanced, I wouldn't recommend letting them around. Like I have a litter of slim pups with my partner
Mhm.
Jeb up in Wisconsin right now.
saw that.
um and I'm gonna, you know, some of those guys are coming to me here soon. So, you know, I have I have two dogs that are here for training, even though they're part of my pack, like with my dogs and stuff like that, while they're here. If they happen to still be here, because one of them is here for long-term rehab. If one of them, if they're still like that at that time, it's not a dog that I would want my dog is learning habits from.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't integrate them into the pack with that dog around, you know, so to say. So
Makes
I'd pick a
sense.
couple good dogs. I'd pick, you know, dogs like Slim. He's always a for sure, you know. I mean, sometimes actually I shouldn't say that, because if the dog is weak, he's like
Yeah.
he'll try to like dominate and stuff like that. So I have to kind of careful even with him what dog I let, because he won't snap at a dog, but he can do things that another dog might not like too. So
Right.
um you know, dogs like my old pit bull, he's always my go-to for any dog, you know, whether it's a super aggressive dog, human or dog aggressive,
Yeah.
or a fearful, insecure dog. He's helped all sorts of them. With puppies, you know, he's a go-to because he gets that play. He still gets into that playful state. You know, he's
Yeah.
12 years old. He's going to be 13 this year, and he still can get on
That's
the
cool.
ground and like start playing with the pups and stuff. And um, you know, Hercules, my mastiff, over the last couple years has become a really calm and submissive dog, and then outgoing when we're like out in public and with other dogs and stuff like that. So he's good too. And then I have a few others that are just they're just good at what they do. I mean, they're just taught to be dogs, you know. That's all.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. Like you know, people might look at like dog psych or rehab sometimes and just be like, well, they're really not doing much. And it's like, well, that's where we're trying to get to. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
like make them dogs again, because sometimes people have done too much, you know.
Right.
So it's all about getting the dogs to just be natural and, you know, learn how to just be a dog and communicate with what you're asking them. That's it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
then so I went ahead and I superimposed a picture of your pack. I'm
Oh
not sure the age of this photo, but I
yeah, I think that's a few years back. I still have some of those guys here, actually.
yeah.
So that's my pit bull all the way to the right, Roscoe.
Mm.
He's 12 now, so I think that was maybe 4 years ago, probably,
And
maybe,
that's your main
maybe
guy
a
right
little
there,
less.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that pit bull's helped more dogs than I can count. Well, I counted over 200 somewhere. I got lost,
Wow. That's amazing.
but it's way more than that if I counted them all. Because sometimes I brought him on cases like where I'll just do like a consult and then leave, and I don't ever have to see them again sometimes after a consultation, you know. And that's good. Sometimes people can do a consultation and be fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other and then I had like I think Slim was on there.
Oh yeah,
uh,
sorry.
Cheech.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that big dog in the middle. That blue dog is Adam. I imported him from SBK. Then the try next to him is Chip. Yeah, that's Chip. He's a big dog now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
he
seen so
doesn't
yeah.
live. He doesn't live here, but he was just here recently for some boarding. So I posted a picture of him. I think like a week or two ago when he was here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. And then like because there's several of your dogs. I know that this particular photo I'm about to put up um, is one of those things where because I mean not only do you train people to understand a dog's psychology, therefore saving their
Yeah,
dogs, but also have produced quite a few dogs yourself.
yeah,
Um, in this picture, again, I can't remember when you posted this, but it takes me aback a little bit because of the fact that you can see so many similarities in these dogs. The consistency is insane.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Those dogs are all related, but
mhm.
none from. I don't think any from the same litter.
Wow.
I don't think so. I think all of these. I mean,
Two
belly of
actually, the girl, the girl in the top right and the
Mhm.
boy in the bottom left in the show ring were related. Yeah,
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then so at the top left of this image, that is Miss Bella, I believe, right?
yeah,
And so
yep,
she, you and I've had multiple conversations about her as well. She actually, she is Slim's mother.
yeah,
You bred her with Bistro to get Grand Champion Slim,
yeah,
and
Nice.
that is how I got Helios. Helios is a Slim Shady grandson.
yep,
So there are so many times where that consistency that you see in these dogs here, you can
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, there was a plan all the way through really to get these to and I didn't know like what kind of consistency these dogs were going to produce. Like the girl to the right of Bella in the top middle,
Mhm,
that's a Grimm daughter, Apple. I bred Bella to Grimm after I bred
mhm.
her to Bistro back in like 2018. And and that girl I line bred back to Slim.
Mhm.
So so that's how I got the next dog over there to the right of her, and then the boy to the bottom left. Um, once I saw that litter, really, that's kind of when I was like, after a few of the generations looking like pretty fucking, no matter the dog they were bred to, there
Yeah.
was always dogs that looked like them. The same thing kept happening. So like, um, that girl in the bottom middle is off of the top girl's sister, bred to another Grim G2, bred to G2.
Yeah.
Um,
Jeez.
sorry, it's hard to remember these dogs. This was years ago. Um,
I know, but
the
it's
girl, the girl on the bottom right, Lizzie, she's off of the girl on the top or the top middle, Apple. That's
Mhm.
her daughter from. I bred her to Block, which was a dog I had who was Brim's littermate brother,
Okay.
which is a dog I rehabilitated. I've known Sam for a while, and Sam reached out for training with Grim. So that's how I met Sam. Is I trained Grim at a young age, and then
Nice.
he gave me Block because Block was like a failed case. I'm pretty sure he bit like several people. He killed the Chihuahua, I think it was.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
but he brought him to me, from wherever he was before. And I rehabbed him. I mean, the first day he came here, he was sitting, I remember him sitting in the front seat of my car on the floor. It was at night when I got him. And I went to get something on the seat and he snapped at me. I was like, "Hey, you little motherfucker." And I turned on the light and he's just sitting there like grinning, showing his teeth at me. And I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fun." So I brought him home. I
Gosh.
put him in the crate and I was like, "I'll deal with you in the morning." Cause it was like 11 at night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and,
Hash this out
and
tomorrow.
Yeah, I put him out the next day. Like I did what I would normally do. I put out like 5, 6 dogs. Bella was out there too at the time, right? So I remember this. Put him out there, and the first thing he did, I mean, he snapped at like 4 or 5 dogs, just like ran up and started snapping at him. And I'm like, oh, you little motherfucker, you're gonna get it. Watch. And he runs to Bella and snaps at her, and she freaks like a fucking pterodactyl, and she fucking puts him to the ground, and he's like, oh shit. And like she was like, if I wasn't around and my pit bull, like she was boss bitch, you know what I mean? And she put him in check, and that fucking fixed him like that, you know. He bit my brother-in-law. I remember my brother-in-law came over and he was petting Cheech, and Block didn't like it, so he went over and bit his hand for no reason, you know. So like dogs do weird shit when they, you know, when they've been conditioned, you know, to be a certain way, and
Yeah.
not just conditioned but not corrected properly. You know, they do weird shit. And anyway, so I bred Block to Apple, to my Grim daughter up there that I had. I thought that was a cool breeding. And then we got Lizzie, that girl there on the bottom right. And even Lizzie, you know, produced some dogs for me that I bred her to dogs. This is how I know the blood is just crazy, because I bred her to, like in the last picture, that big dog Adam that I imported from
Yeah.
SBK. He's a 17.5-inch dog, man. The bone on him is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
I bred him to that girl, and we got dogs. Like I had this dog, what the fuck was it? Glock, I called him. Yeah, because she's off of Apple and Block, so I called him Glock. Yeah, and I had this dog named Glock. Like, dude, they looked like the looks is just there. And even with her other, or no, I'm sorry, wrong litter. I'm thinking not Glock. Glock was from a different litter. He was off of Block to something else. Her bred to Adam made my dog Poison, that I have the Slim pups off now. So we line bred that back to Slim Shady. And then I have her brother with my buddy CJ. His name is Nightmare. I posted him a bunch when he was a puppy. Ended up someone was really interested in him just as a pet, and he ended up going to him. So yeah, but the consistency is there regardless,
Yeah,
man.
it
So I'm
is.
excited. I'm excited to see if the same look of these dogs pulls through with this breeding with the Slim pups now, because there's some in there that are, there's a couple in there that are like sable or fawn or smut. You can't really, it's hard to tell still. They're only like 3 weeks old or something like that. So we'll see. We'll check
They're
back, I
good
guess,
looking dogs, man.
maybe in a year, and we'll see. So
Yeah, and it's
thank you.
great.
I've got a pup. I've got a pup on this litter I've got right now. That at a glance, it looks like it has a melanistic mask, like those dogs did, right? But it's not. It's not black. His muzzle and then up around his eyes is like the lightest blue. It's not black. And it's not a mask. And none of the litter has a mask. It's just he has a blue muzzle. He's like a, like a tan color, almost a lilac, like a little more brown than your average lilac. But
Yeah, I've seen that color
he's
look
got
like
a
that before.
blue. It's like blue, like a blue pit or a blue bully. That blue color he
Yeah,
gets from his mama. He's got a blue mask and
yeah.
around his eyes too. It's really pretty.
If anyone on here, I'll go through like comments later and stuff, but like if anyone on here was around like 10 plus years ago, there was like someone that bred dogs. I forget their name, but it was called like Purple Line or something like that. And they had like, at the time, were like some of the only lilacs like that you would
Yeah.
see, and they had that coloring. They had that dark lilac sometimes when they were trying. They were like lilac tries, but they looked almost like purple because of like the dark color that they were, and they called them Purple Line dogs. So,
Yeah.
One dog that I definitely I want to make sure we focus on from your program is that Batty.
yeah, that's my boy
Wow.
Cheech, man.
Woo.
Yeah,
What a
Yeah.
good looking dog.
Hell of a dog.
thank you, man. Yeah, he's a cool boy, man. He's probably
How tall
sleeping
is he?
downstairs. He is right at 17 inches on the money. So you know, I had a dispute one time in the show ring because
Nice short standard.
yeah, or pocket. I mean, he's right where it's wherever you want to put him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Put him
know.
on
Yeah.
his tip, put him on his tiptoes. He's a standard, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we, you know, this ended up happening at a BRC show years ago. I went into the show ring and someone, I'm not going to say names, but a fellow handler friend of mine was like, that's a pocket dog, sir. And I'm like, hell no, this is a standard. And she's like, yeah, right. And I'm like, he's 17 inches. I'm showing him in standard, you know? And they're like, whatever. So like I ended up winning the class, and this handler went as far as telling the judge that my dog was a standard or was a pocket and shouldn't be in the class. And then they gave me the ribbon, and then you know, went back in for best male, and they were like, he's like, yeah, I don't know, man, if I'm giving the right ribbon. I don't want to say judges either. He's like, I don't know if I'm giving the right dog the right ribbon, man, but here you go. You look like this dog should win it either way, you know? And then they made me stand there. So I went in for like best of winners or something. This is like, I think his first show ever. And he's like standing there, and I'm stacking the shit out of him, and he's standing there, and I'm dripping sweat. We're standing there for 10 minutes while they're looking for a wicket and they can't find one. And then yeah, dude, this was a mess back in the day. This is like, you know, but anyways, we're stacked up, dude. We weren't going nowhere. And my homie, they gave it to me under the notion that I was going to get wicked or something. I don't know. My homie Brian Robinson ran out to his work van that he drove to the show and pulled out his like carpenter tool. That's like a wicket, basically, you know, and he fucking brought it. He brought it in, and we measured him at 17. And then I went in and we won best of breed. And, you know, and Cheech is an awesome dog, man. His brother is even crazier than he is. He lives in Jamaica, his brother.
Wow.
Produced some awesome dog, just a massive dog compared to Cheech, like same look, but the head is way bigger and the build is bigger. He's not as clean, but he's just a big dog.
This
But
dog
yeah,
right here's got great proportions, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cheech is pretty well put together, man. He's probably one of my most well put together overall put together dogs I have. And he fuck was I gonna say? So yeah, that's the only. Besides that, I only showed Cheech like one or maybe two more times, and all times he got breed wins and stuff, but he's not great in the car, man. You know, and you know, as much as like I train dogs and do stuff like that, and like I've taken him with me on training sessions, in a crate, out of a crate, in the back seat, in the front seat, AC on, stone, not stone, sober, all sorts of shit, and it just you know, I could just tell he does not thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's not from lack of being in the car, like from when he was younger, because we used to take him everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, something, you know, at some point happened that we didn't catch, and you know, eventually couldn't correct. And you know, even talking back to rehab, this is just something that you would work on continuously until you got him where you wanted him to be. It's just like shows you that rehab is like with anything else, you know, as soon as you stop fucking doing it, you stop practicing and doing the stuff, training and doing what you're supposed to do, you're gonna go back to the same shit. And just like a diet, you stop it, you're gonna get fat again, you know.
Back to the crack.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But man, it's one of those things where you've done a lot for the community without realizing, I think, truly how much you've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just with your work with dogs
Yeah.
and people, but also through your productions and things like that. So,
I can't wait to go check
always,
some of it out.
no, yeah, definitely. If you guys haven't already done so, definitely make it a point to go to his page, so that way you can actually go through. Again, he went through this rapid fire either last week before, where it's just video after video of just free game and just really deep insight, shining some light on things that you don't really realize that you're doing. or things that you don't realize are necessary that you haven't been doing. And it's just, it makes it make sense. Because Dima, one thing you're really, really good at is making it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're explaining not just the way the dog thinks, but the way we think
Breaking it down.
in reference to that,
Yeah.
and it correlates. And you know, you're reprogramming human beings to the way that they react to things.
I have to do that because, like I said before, like dog psychology without it being properly like explained to you in a way that you can understand is pointless. It's like me handing you a bunch of like big books and just being like, good luck, you know? So like, and it's like, I mean, I honestly, like in any business, like, you know, you that's why you hire a professional, or I mean, it's like in anything you hire someone that's experienced and studied that and practiced it, you know what I mean? And like same thing, like I practiced it and studied it and had to develop like a way that I could teach people, because before I knew the shit and I just did it like for myself, or like I was saying before, I did it for like shelter and rescue dogs just so they could like find homes. But like until I like started like giving that information to people in a way that they could understand it, it didn't really become beneficial or helpful for anybody besides myself and the dogs, you know? So
Right. Yeah. And it's as a direct result. I mean, again, you saved a lot of dogs, and that just makes you a monolith more than you know. So I definitely heavily, very highly respect you and what you do and how you operate. And I was very, very happy that you were willing to come back on, especially like right
thank
after
you.
know, kind of gotten back into the groove of things and
Great. Yeah.
trying to get
Perfect
back at
time. Thank you guys too for having me on. It was fun.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man, I've
Definitely
enjoyed it,
anytime.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, everybody, if you haven't done it already, definitely make a plan to go and get into this man's page, so that way you can learn as much as you can. And if there's more that you want to know, obviously, he's got the information on his page about, you know, consultations, you know, and just kind of step by step what you would need to do to kind of get with him about your dog's behavior and kind of changing your lifestyle and kind of getting to where you need to be to have a good life with your dog. So and thank you so much. And we'll definitely look forward to having you on again. Hopefully it won't be
Thank you.
this time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and just to add to that real quick, Caleb mentioned something about it earlier, doing the consultation first. That's like a lot of people will message me and like ask me like, or they'll just send me like unsolicited videos of their dogs and situations. And I'm almost thinking about taking those videos and start doing one of those like reaction things, like where people start doing, you know, since they're sending them to me and asking me to do something with it. So, you know, it all starts with a consultation for the simple fact that I want to make sure that it's something that you're able to be successful in. You know, I don't want to be like one of the trainers that just like takes your dog because they say they can, and then, you know, you don't learn anything. You get your dog back after a week. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste people's hard-earned money. And I want to make sure, I always do a consultation to make sure that that person is going to be able to do what our plan is that we're putting together with that dog in that amount of time, you know? So it's just, it's always, so it's the most effective situation possible for everybody, you know? So always to benefit the dog, of course, first, but then the people as well, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
I like that.
Get that.
It's definitely very that's where it's at. I appreciate that about you. So all right, well, again, thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Thank you again, Dima, for gracing us with your knowledge and your insight.
Oh, thank you guys.
Good
I
to see you,
appreciate it.
man. Good to see you, man. We'll be checking out your stuff for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate that, guys. And then I'll go through the video when it's up, and I'll try to look at some comments or see what was on here.
Right. Yeah. Because I know there were a couple people that had some questions, and I was just like, that's going to be a lengthier. So everybody that asked questions, you know, we can always get back to those in the comments. So appreciate you guys for engaging, and everybody have a beautiful night.
All right. Good night,
All
y'all.
right.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye, guys.